Yeah, this is a podcast of Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Let's go!
We are live from Scitech this morning.
Yes, we are.
How exciting.
And when we think science, we think one man.
Oh, Dr. Karl, come on down. Hi, buddy.
Hello, Dr. Nathan, Dr. Nat, Dr. Shaun.
Oh,
Dr.
good
Karl.
morning, Dr. Karl. Yeah, we're absolutely pumped this morning to be here at Scitech, surrounded by
Science.
science. That's it.
everywhere.
And we can see why you get so passionate about this. This is quite a broad field, my friend.
Well, I love science, especially the stuff they do at Scitech, because you're seeing stuff that's physically there in front of you, as opposed to something that's on a screen that could be fake.
Oh, mate.
Yeah,
yes,
that's
well
true.
said, mate.
Yeah, there is like rooms with fire in them here. There's like gravity stuff.
Nate, you're going to show me the spy setup later on.
Oh, there's a spy thing all about coding and stuff, Dr. Karl. I never knew that science included like, spies and coding and things like that.
It has for a long time, going way back to the early days, where they would write a message on a skinny bit of paper and then wrap it around a stick which changed in diameter, and then send the stick and the bit of paper by two different messages to the same spot, and the message could be read only on that exact stick on which it was written in the first place.
Oh, that's clever. That's clever, right?
That is
So without the stick, it means nothing.
Right, and they were using science way back then. Of course, they did a few other dirty tricks, which was, for example, to get a slave, shave
Yes.
the head bald, do some tattooing on it, and then let the hair grow back and then send them off.
Wow.
Oh, really? Gee, you're learning something every day. Good work, Dr.
Oh
Karl.
my God, you know everything. Hey, Dr. Karl, so the one big science mystery at the moment in the world is that of COVID, right? And here we have just been told that our borders are going to be staying shut and to wait for the Omicron situation over in the eastern states to settle down, and so we can get our stuff in order before we let that monster in. How do you think, what do you think about the handling of the COVID situation here in Australia?
We've been fairly good, and you can think about COVID as being like you're driving on a two-lane Richmond road in the hills in the dark, and it's twisty and windy, and then
Yes.
suddenly along comes Omicron, which is like it's beginning to rain, and just through the rain you can dimly sense that there's a curve in the road. What we did in New South Wales, and we were not fully vaccinated, was that we took away the QR code, we took away the masking, we took away the social distancing, and the number of cases per day rose from 200 to a peak of 90,000. 90,000. It's dropped down to about 25,000, and the number of deaths dropped from jumped from 2 a day up to 55 a day, and they didn't have to die. And what they were saying was, well, it's good for the economy, but the thing is that there are so many people actually sick with COVID due to Omicron that you can't buy toilet paper simply because it's not being delivered by the trucks and the forklift drivers, so it's bad for the economy either way.
Yeah, very interesting,
Yeah.
actually. Dr. Karl. Yeah.
Our Premier here, his plan is to wait for the numbers to decrease and to get our over in the eastern states and to get our third booster percentages up. He wants to go to about 80%. Which, I mean,
It's at about 25 now.
yeah, it's at about 25 right now, and he says that the best thing that we've got here in WA is that we can learn from what's happening over there and try and correct the mistakes that he thinks that they've made. Do you think that's a good plan in your scientific opinion?
Yeah, but I would add one more thing. Get the vaccination to include the kids as well. Because
Yes.
while
Right.
kids do not get particularly sick, they can carry it and pass it on to somebody else while being totally asymptomatic. If you're interested, look up Typhoid Mary in Wikipedia.
Okay. There we go.
I'm familiar with the tale and I understand what you're saying. She didn't have typhoid, but she spread it around.
Hey, Dr. Karl, how many degrees have you got?
Because I was brought up in Australia, when the government thought that education was a worthwhile investment in the future, I have 16 years of education at university, all for free, including a degree in physics and maths, a master's degree in biomedical engineering, when I designed and built a machine to pick up the electrical signals of the human retina to diagnose certain types of eye disease, the Fred Eyes.
Unbelievable.
A degree in medicine, a degree in surgery. I've worked in all of those fields, plus I have 4 non-degree years at university that I did just for fun to round me off, and they're not degrees, they're just years for fun in astrophysics, electrical engineering, computer science and philosophy.
So
what a night out, eh?
your hobby is just going to uni, basically.
Trying to understand the universe, and the more I learn about it, the more confusing it is, especially when I get onto quantum mechanics. Man, that hurts my head. And the weird thing about the universe is that it started 13.8 billion years ago, but it's infinite. How can both be true? How can it be infinite but have a
starting point?
But that's what the cosmologists tell me, and I just simply am not an expert in anything, so I go along with the overwhelming majority opinion in any field, whether it's cosmology, geology, or climatology.
Now, so many degrees, so many times spent studying. How many share houses did you live in?
Quite a few. I ended up squatting for a while, and that was a bit
you?
tricky because I had to boot out the other people, junkies, Hell's Angels, and that was a bit messy. But luckily, I had moral and life advice from The Godfather. So don't just simply see the 3 Godfather movies, but read the books, and they give you advice like, if you make a threat against somebody, that lessens you. So you shouldn't make threats.
Yes.
You should say, that would make me and my family unhappy.
Dr. Karl, sage advice this morning.
Yeah, that's very persuasive. Now, you've got a book out, Dr. Karl's Little Book of Climate Change Science. And I was reading something the other day that said, because everybody's like, oh, we don't have the solution. We do have the solution to climate change, don't we? We just don't have politicians who are prepared to take the leap.
Yeah, so the message of the book is quite clear. We can both stop and reverse rising carbon dioxide levels and climate change, and bring the conditions back to what they were in the 20th century using the technology that we have today. Well, there's better technology, but the stuff we've got today is enough to do it. As you say, all we need are different politicians who haven't been, how I put it delicately, influenced by the $1 billion a year that fossil fuel is spending on telling lies.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So we have the solution. We just need people
we just need to get those people out of the way.
Yes.
But the worst thing is there's another line of those people ready to go.
That's right, because money talks. Dr. Karl, it is always a pleasure. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning.
Look, thank you so much. I've been very honoured, and thank you, audience. Love you to pieces.
This is Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Ready to hit the road this summer? It's time to What If It. Visit whatif.com to plan and book your accommodation, flights, activities, even car hire.
Plus, select hotels are fully refundable. Booking cancellation windows apply.
What if it's Aussie for travel? Check government advisories before booking and travelling.
So here in Perth, we all feel a certain way when we hear that Mark McGowan's got a press conference.
Yeah, the press conference wasn't too shocking. It was the significant announcement that was attached to it that made me nervous. Like, ooh. And when it's 7:30, like the afternoon ones, you go, oh, yeah, whatever. They're just saying the case number.
I have to say,
yes, they are absolutely.
The entire time since the borders have been announced that they're going to be opening on Feb 5th, Marlene Ann Morris says they will not open.
I've heard
she has said it the entire time. Even yesterday.
She's an eternal pessimist, though, to be fair.
She loves Mark McGowan. She is his number one fan. And even on yesterday, Mum was going, okay, they're not going to open. I reckon he'll say something soon. And me and Dad were like, no. I said, look, I think that I can see a really strong reason for them not to be open, but I think Mark is politically backed into a corner.
Also, he didn't seem to be equivocating before that. He wasn't going, wasn't starting to hedge his bets, you know what I mean?
It was all go.
Yeah, that's right. And then it was all stop. And last night, so I got on social media immediately because I was very interested to see the reaction. And I was shocked, actually, that the first 4 posts on Facebook were support. People are saying, thank goodness, some breathing space. Yeah. Another guy who lives in Tasmania was saying, I'm disappointed that I can't come back to see my family, but I'm also happy that they're not going to be put through the show that they've got over there.
Yep.
And I got that. There were a lot of angry people as well.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a friend who hasn't seen her daughter for 2.5 years because she lives in Holland. She was due to fly in on Feb 5th.
Yeah,
and now
okay.
she's not going to see it. And not knowing when. It's the shifting
indefinite.
sands.
That's the thing that would have worried me.
No
last
light
night
at the end
watching
of the
it. I don't
tunnel.
have family members that need to come back or I need to travel to see them.
Yeah.
It'd be heartbreaking. I know my neighbours will be flying off the handle this morning, some of them. They haven't seen their daughters and sons and whatever that case is.
And that's really hard.
So that's going to be very difficult. It doesn't affect me in that manner at all. But when there's an indefinite finish line, it makes it very difficult. And I think it's going to be, people are going to start turning.
I think everyone can see the point of view of let's wait until that calms down and let's get our house in order before we let that in. I think people get that. I think where he might have lost everybody was when he was quoting that the third booster shots need to be up around 80%.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Because by the time that happens.
I don't even know logistically how you figure that out, because the amount of people that have had their boosters spread over such a period of time, a lot of people will need a fourth booster by the time the third booster kick in. So by the sounds of it, without him saying anything about a date, it's going to be at least 6 months.
Well, you can imagine by the time we hit 80% of the third booster, the people at the beginning
will need a fourth booster. And then I'm wondering if then the fourth booster becomes mandatory, which will upset the anti-vaxxers and they'll start rattling more windows in Fremantle.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will. And the other thing to go with that is, so when do we ever open? Because there's going to be variations of this disease going for many, many years.
But I do want to say, I was one of the people saying, I don't think with what's going on over there, we should open now. And I do know that I come from a privileged situation where my mum and dad are here.
Yes.
So I know that and I understand.
And you haven't planned a wedding for
And I haven't planned a wedding. And, but I do really think when they were talking about the compassionate grounds, which seem very wishy-washy about what they're actually going to be.
100%.
I think that people that are, like your friend, that had someone booked to come over here on the February 5th, I think if that plan is in place and they are following all the protocols, I think that they should, their trips, if your trips are planned, I do think that you should be allowed to come in there because it's not your fault.
No, that's
you did everything right. You were planning everything right. I think that should be under the umbrella
goalposts on you.
I think that should be part of compassionate grounds.
Yeah, but compassionate grounds coming over for a couple of weeks if you've tested negative, right? So you're not shouldn't be allowed on the plane until you've tested negative, correct? So you jump on the plane, you've tested negative, you've had 2 injections, maybe your booster as well, and then you've got to isolate for two weeks. I mean,
and
most people aren't coming over here they're not coming over here for a month, are they?
The clincher as well is if you're isolating at that house, everybody in that house has to isolate.
Because until now, you could just be in a separate bedroom if it had an attached bathroom and isolate from the rest of the household. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make any sense because we've been able to dodge it and run that.
Oh, it's because Omicron is far more contagious.
Okay, can I just mention one of the biggest things about this whole thing and being delayed is the fact that we are not ready in any hospital
100%.
region.
That is definitely true. And part of it is that they literally can't get workers in either.
And I'm a big Mark McGowan supporter and I really think that he's done a great job here in WA keeping us safe. But when he was flatly asked if the hospital system was ready and he said, yes, we're ready to go, that's when people call you a liar.
Are you?
You know what I mean? Because really, and I think the best way to answer that is, look, you know what? We're not where we need to be.
Yeah, also, the best way to answer that is to ask the healthcare workers who are all universally saying, we are already overworked and overstretched and understaffed.
Yeah, 100%.
So then what happened?
Can I add to that? When I was down south, I went to the Busselton Hospital. My wife, I'm there all the time.
I was going to say frequent flyer program, was it?
Yeah, absolutely. But one thing, my wife had pneumonia, right? She's had pneumonia in the past, so she's got respiratory issues. So I took her there because she was in a bit of strife. They put us in a section for COVID. They had to treat us like COVID patients, and I'm all up for that because safety first.
Yes.
The reason why it took so long is because there was only 2 beds available in that system, right? So that's all of Busselton, all of Margaret
anybody
River,
with respiratory issues that they think are COVID.
2 beds.
Yeah.
2 beds.
Yeah, but the plans, I remember, they bought all those marquees. The hospital's going to be marquees. It's going to be like an episode of MASH.
Okay, no, nothing to worry about then. We're fine.
The Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Lab reports, blood tests. Somebody blew out a fuse in the lab. You're a laboratory experiment.
I need my lab assistance, please.
These guys consider themselves to be pretty good detectives. You can be a detective too. Just check out Scitech's Top Secret Licensed to Spy exhibition on now at Scitech City West.
All right, it is time for the first round of Lab Assistants Live. We have Joe versus Sharon, and Joe and Sharon have brought their Lab Assistants along today, the smartest people they know.
They have, but we did ask for people to be represented at home by Joe and Sharon. So Joe will be representing Rob from Armidale. Hi, Rob.
Hey, how you going?
Good, buddy. So do you want to wish Joe and Michelle some good luck there? Because $2,000 is riding on it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go, Joe.
All right.
We're working for you, Rob.
Okay,
I feel a connection.
Shane is the other one who got through, so Shane will be hooked up with Shaz and Kaz, actually. It's the Shaz and Kaz show. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning.
Have you got high hopes for your team?
Oh, definitely. I need the 2,000, so that'd be great.
All right, okay.
He really needs it. He's in dire straits, so no guilt there.
So we're about to do the round that will get you guys into the final, okay?
So let's go back to Joe. Joe, what do you do for a living?
I work in a school.
You work in a school?
As a science teacher?
Yeah.
Sort of-ish. Not
Okay.
really, not really.
And we said to bring your smartest friend. Michelle, what do you do?
I'm a teacher.
Oh,
A science teacher?
All right, we better move on to Sharon and Kaz to work out what they're doing. So what do you guys do for a crust? Sharon?
I'm a phys ed teacher.
Okay. Oh.
Kaz?
I'm a phys ed teacher.
Now, of course, we need somebody to answer the questions, and we have Scitech science guru Shani doing that esteemed job of quizmaster. Hi, Shani.
Hello, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. Talk to us about your educational background. What did you study?
So I went to uni and studied chemistry, and then I realised that I liked talking about science more than I was good at doing it. So then I pivoted into communicating science here at Scitech.
Fantastic.
Nice. Okay.
She's got a black belt.
So each team will have a minute on the clock to answer as many questions, just like it was for you to get through in the first place. And basically, you can confer with your lab assistants. You won't be taking turns. You can both answer the question. So you both get to say one answer each, or you can confer using your eyes, that kind of thing. As long as within 2 guesses you get the question right, you'll get the point. Okay? You feeling confident?
Happy.
Joe and Michelle, you're going to be going first.
And remember, guys, there's a time crunch here.
Yes,
So,
you've only got a minute to answer as
and
many
you can
questions
pass if you just want
as
to
you can.
scoot on by.
All right. Joe and Michelle, your time starts now.
What ancient stone was important in helping archaeologists crack the code to understand Egyptian hieroglyphics?
Pass.
What substance are fingernails made of?
Keratin.
Correct. How many legs do cockroaches have?
6.
Correct. What is the force that normally stops objects from sliding easily across other surfaces?
Friction.
Correct. In which capital city would you find the Australian Space Agency?
Canberra.
Incorrect. Adelaide. What do you hear when the speed of sound is surpassed?
Sonic boom.
Correct. What is the hardest natural substance in the world?
Diamond.
Correct. In water, would bigger bubbles or smaller bubbles move faster upwards?
Smaller bubbles.
Incorrect. Bigger ones. So how many pairs of wings does a bee have?
2.
Correct. What is the name of the mathematical sequence where the number is... The next number
Fibonacci.
is... Correct.
Oh, yeah, we'll pay that. 7. Nicely done.
How did you know that thing?
and the first
like a
one...
pasta.
It was in a movie.
It was the Rosetta Stone was the answer to that first one as well. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so 7 is the score to beat to get you through to the next round, Sharon and Karen.
Okay.
All right.
The next round is the final.
That's right.
Okay.
This is to get you through to the final. That's right.
Okay, you are playing for Shane as well at home.
Okay.
Sorry, Shane.
Sorry, Shane. If it was sport, it would be awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Everybody, we're just getting our questions in order.
That's right. We have Shani from Scitech, the science guru.
I think
there's a bit of conferring.
Did you just
the judges?
Perfect.
Okay. Are we good to go? All right.
Let's do this.
Shani is ready. Sharon and Karen. Best name team ever. Your 60 seconds starts now.
What vitamin does the sun's ultraviolet rays help your skin produce?
D.
Correct. Brass is a metal made of which two elements?
Copper and gold.
Oh, incorrect. Copper and zinc. The adrenal glands secrete which hormone?
Adrenaline.
Correct. What does GPS stand for?
No, not that.
Not that one.
Pass.
A global positioning system. Seismology is the study of what?
Oh, sorry?
Seismology is the study of what?
Correct. Earthquakes. Yep.
Correct. Pure gold is how many carats?
24.
Correct. What is the scientific name for fluid spinning or whirling in a circular motion, such as in a tornado or whirlpool?
Tornado.
The vortex. How many sides?
Time's up. Got 4. That
Better than none.
That means that Joe and Michelle move through to the final.
John and Michelle beat the phys ed teachers. Oh my God,
Which
they're going to
means-
go get some balls and throw them in your head.
Rob from Armidale is still in the hunt for $2,000.
Well done, Shaz and Kaz, though. That was a really, really good round.
A valiant effort. All right, round 2 will be coming up very soon.
Nathan, Nat, and Shaun.
We're at Scitech this morning.
We are.
Feeling the science in our veins.
Oh, loving it.
Yeah, and I was thinking about like back at school, right? So we've had a couple of phys ed teachers here this morning, and that being a teacher of phys ed, that can be concerning because kids can break their arms.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's
fall
true.
off scaffolding or something if they're doing that abseiling situation. And then you've got home ec. Kids could cut themselves with the knives.
Burn themselves.
But then you've got the science teachers where the children under your care can literally blow up.
Yeah.
It's the only classroom you went to which they had a gas point.
Yes.
Or every metre in the thing.
And we're going to give you a naked flame.
The
No worry.
Bunsen burner. Like, what are you doing? And there was always just one. And I think that we had a science teacher and there was a lab technician just on hand, just in case, because there were so many things that could go wrong.
Yeah, well, how many people were heating up their compasses on the Bunsen burner and then trying to burn you with them, Nathan, when you were standing in class?
We went over to home ec because our teacher was a bit loose. We went over to home ec and got some garlic salt and all this sort of stuff, some seasoning. Came back and we were just dissecting sheep brains in.
Oh yeah, remember that?
In science, and then we ended up cooking them on the Bunsen burner, and then took them to the English class, and so we made the food in home ec and gave it to them. and said it was chicken. So yeah, Kalgoorlie was pretty loose with their education.
Well,
But,
a shout out to my chemistry teacher, Mr. Furman.
Yeah.
How
Thanks,
how
Furman.
fondly I remember you, sir, because we were doing this experiment where it was something to do with acid. You had to add something to something else, and then you had to waft it to smell what it was. And he said, and he used me as the demo to show how to do it, right? But he put the acid in, and he used an acid that was 10 times as strong as he was supposed to use.
Good.
And then he wafts it, and I have to go sniff this. And as I sniffed it, it burnt all the way down my nose, down the back of my throat. The most intense burning I could ever imagine. I'm like, Mr. Furman, are you trying to kill me? What are you doing?
I do remember the time where I let off a gas and said to you, smell this, and it was the same response.
Yeah, that also burned.
Nowadays, that would be national
I'd sue
news.
him.
Back in the day, she'll be right.
Yeah, she'll be right.
And
No
your parents
problem.
are going,
And I was,
she's fine.
You're listening to Nathan, Nat, and Shaun.
We are talking about the things that went down in science class.
Now, I was really lucky. My form room was our science lab.
Wow,
We got to go there, every day. And my form teacher was the science teacher, Wendy Lawrence. But that must be terrifying for her every day to have all of us in there unsupervised at some point.
And you're a bunch of ferals.
Oh, we would touch
This is
anything. We go in the
Kalgoorlie.
back room where they keep all the things in the jars. It's not a good feeling. We've got Lindsay here, who's one of our lab assistant contestants this morning. But Lindsay, you've got a bit of a story about what went down in science class?
When I was in year 8 in high school, everyone's trying to be cool first year of high school. We had all the liquids and gases and stuff come around in sealed containers.
Yeah.
And one came around and it was methylated spirits. And this girl was like, oh, this is what they use to make alcohol. And she just, opens it up, takes a sip. And it just burned.
Yes, of course it did.
Something cruel.
Yeah.
And she had to be rushed to the hospital.
Oh, what a start. Year 8.
See, in Kalgoorlie, one of the students would have finished the bottle.
And wouldn't have noticed the
They
burning.
would have got so it was quite nice.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Okay, we've got other stories too. Genevieve's in Coolbellup. G'day, Genevieve.
Hey, how you going?
Good, buddy.
What happened in science class?
Well, I think I was in about year 9 and there was a pretty interesting experiment going on down the front of the class. You know, things were bubbling away and I couldn't see properly. So I decided to get up on the desk to get a better look and the overhead fan clocked me in the back of the head and split my head open.
You were that excited to look at a chemistry experiment.
That's very funny.
Bit of a nerd.
Oh, my God.
Did it not? So
to learn a bit about rotational forces.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and that day they learned also about decapitation. It was a really, really fruitful
Did you hear a
experience.
violin there too?
That was great,
Amazing.
Genevieve. Let's go to Adam in Baldivis. Hi, Adam.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah,
Good, Adam.
right. So we're learning that science class. I mean, although very informative, can be dangerous. What went down?
So we were doing, this would have been early stages of high school, we were doing exothermic reactions, and I'd done a little bit of external reading, convinced the teacher to make up a batch of thermite, which is what they use to weld steel underwater and in the outback. So it burns at about 3,500 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
He wasn't quite on top of that, and so went and got the components from the store.
Yeah.
Just basically rust and aluminium powder and a magnesium fuse for anybody who wants to have a crack at home. And mix it in the right proportions, and he set it up in this little bowl and said, no, we'll put it in the fume hood just to be safe. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to be interesting. I'll just stand back. So he made up quite a large batch to make sure it was a good demonstration.
Oh, God.
So we ended up with a pool of molten metal in the fume hood, melted tiles, melted glass, some burning on all the wooden structure, really fast, so nobody had a chance to go, oh, my God, we have to evacuate. It's all over in a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
But pretty significant demolition. Should have been done outside and, resulted in a pool of molten glass instead of a pool of molten fume hood.
Now, Adam, you knew what was about to happen.
Oh,
you
yeah,
would
okay,
have.
yeah.
He stood back. That's why he stood back, Nathan.
Adam, what do you do for a gig these days? You explain that very, very well.
I don't know that that's a good idea if I tell you that. But I'm professionally qualified in, let's say, chemical. I was a chemical engineer.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
he knows what he's talking about.
Adam, there was something so evil and premeditated about you going, oh, no, that's the right amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
Step back. No, that's great. No, outside. No, you'll be fine. Step back.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun in podcast form.
Lab reports, blood tests. Somebody blew out a fuse in the lab. You're a laboratory experiment.
I need my lab assistance, please.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun know the benefits of a good assistant. So take your little lab assistant to Scitech this summer school holidays and beat the boredom. Book online now at scitech.org.au.
All right, it is time for the second qualifying final to make it through to the grand final.
Gee, we're super nervous about this, aren't we?
I know, right? So we have two more teams going head to head, Nathan.
We do. We have Lindsay and Ali versus Jason and Gareth. Now, we were asking for people at home to be presented by these two teams.
Who have we got?
In order to win $2,000. Lindsay and Ali, you will be representing Karina from Queen's Park. Hello, Karina.
Hi, guys. Welcome back.
Thank you, Karina.
Sweetheart. So, do you want to give a little bit of a good luck chant to you two girls here?
Good luck, whoever, yeah.
Well, it's Lindsay and Ali are representing you.
That's who you want.
And let's just find out something about Lindsay. What do you do for a crust in the science game?
No, I work in finance.
Very similar.
Excellent. What about your lab assistant, Ali?
Sales rep.
Okay,
There you
I
go.
think you'll nail it.
No, this is life experience.
That's
it.
right.
You don't know what these two girls have picked up on the streets.
Life is an experiment, Nathan. The other team is, of course, Jason and Gareth. Who are they going to be representing, Nathan?
They are going to be representing Rachel from Karratha. Hi, Rachel.
Hello.
Hey, mate.
Morning, Rachel. Of course, if the boys get through, then you're a chance to win $2,000. Let's hear from Jason first up. G'day, Jason. We did speak to you a couple of days ago.
How you going?
Now, Jason, you have come in with your game face on. Tell everybody what you do and your experience.
I'm a head of mathematics at a high school.
Yeah.
I like quizzes, so
Yep.
we'll see how we go.
Yep. Who did you bring with you? Gareth.
What my mate Gareth.
Gareth?
Hey guys, how are we going?
Tell us about yourself, Gareth.
Maths teacher.
And?
I've got a background in astrophysics.
Oh my God! Lindsay and Ali just ran off.
Look, can I just say that I think Jason thinks that Gareth is dumb. Because Jason come up to us and left Gareth at the table and said, I can answer all the questions by myself, can't I? And then he said, it's a numbers game, so I'm going to try and get through as many as I can. I was like, Gareth is over there just sitting there, eating his eggs.
Thinking about astrophysics.
Yes, he is. Neutrons.
All right, we have our Scitech science guru, Shaun. He's going to be asking the questions. Lindsay and Ali, you girls are up first. You've got a minute, and you can, for each question, you can give us one answer each. If you get the answer as a team, we'll allow it. But remember, you've only got 60 seconds, so you need to be quick, okay?
Good luck, girls.
Your 60 seconds starts now.
How many sides does a heptagon have?
7.
Correct. Commonly used for espionage and surveillance. What is the common name for a covert listening device?
Pass.
A wire or a bug. In which mountain chain would you find Mount Everest?
Asia.
The Himalayas. Incorrect. Which brothers invented the aeroplane?
Pass.
The Wright brothers. What tool do scientists use to look at objects that are too small to be seen with the naked eye?
Microscope.
Correct. What plant is the floral emblem of Western Australia?
Kangaroo paw.
Correct. Name the process plants use to make food from sunlight.
Photosynthesis.
Correct. What do the internal angles of a triangle add up to?
180.
Correct. Animals that eat other animals are known as what?
Carnivores.
Correct. Firefox, Chrome, Safari, and Internet Explorer are types of browsers. Correct. Which
Time's up. 7.
It's on,
Well done.
Ali and
You did
Lindsay.
well. It did very well.
Sisters can do it for themselves.
Oh,
All
my God.
right. Nicely done. That puts the pressure on Jason's just given a little pep
Jason
talk.
and his dumb astrophysicist friend Gareth.
Okay.
What a fair effort.
I know.
I like this.
Jason, that was good.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Good round.
All right, so Jason, you're representing Rachel, of course, from Karratha.
You need 8 to win through to the final.
And Jace, I know the mark's right in front of your face, but you might want a bit temperature.
Didn't get this side by not eating, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Jason and Gareth, your time starts now.
Which constellation is recognized in the sky by 3 distinctive stars tracing out
Orion's
a belt?
belt.
Correct. When you mix bicarb soda and vinegar together, what gas is
Carbon
produced?
dioxide.
Correct. Halitosis is the medical term
Bad
for
breath.
what? Correct. Which animal's poop is known to make the shape of cubes?
kangaroos.
Incorrect. Wombat. Which simple machine can be used to make it easier to lift heavy objects?
A lever.
Incorrect. A pulley. What word describes an animal that is mostly active at night?
Nocturnal.
Correct. What is the coldest planet in the solar system?
Uranus.
Correct. Which islands did Charles Darwin to study
Galapagos.
to knowledge? Correct. The most recognized model of how the universe began is known as
Big Bang
what?
Theory.
Correct. How many bones are in a shark's body?
None.
Correct. It's all cartilage. Which human teeth are always the last to erupt?
Molars.
Incorrect. Wisdom teeth. Which gas is used to
Time's up, but they did it.
They did it.
8. They scored 8.
Oh. And Gareth came right through with Uranus.
Well done, Gareth. And that was the difference.
That was the difference. Uranus was the difference. So, coming up after 8 o'clock, the final. Jason and Gareth versus Joe and Michelle. Remember, Joe and Michelle representing Rob from Armidale and Jason and Gareth representing Rachel from Karratha. One of those home listeners will take home $2,000 and our winning team gets $5,000.
Fair effort, Lindsay and Ali. That was amazing. That was a good round, everybody.
This is a podcast of Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Well, we're going to head over to the East Coast, would you believe? I mean, from a distance, obviously, but we're going to talk to Brendon Julian, our Fox cricket expert. By the way, you can catch every ball of the BBL finals live and ad break free during play on Fox Cricket, available on Foxtel and KO. BJ, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're wonderful, mate.
BJ.
We're wonderful. I wanted to ask you, when's the next Ashes down in Australia? Because I need to know it's in a couple of years' time so we can actually have a test here in Perth.
Well, that's right. I think the next Ashes will be probably before you guys open the borders up, so probably about 4 years' time.
In 4 years? We're not going to be open in 4 years, you idiot.
Okay, 5 years. It could be 5 years then.
Hey, what did you think when you heard about the news of February 5 being cancelled for us over here?
Well, I must admit, I actually thought they weren't going to open February 5. I know the cases, and it's COVID central over here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
I knew that you guys wouldn't be doing that, and you'll probably do a pact with Asia before, or Hong Kong or someone else, or India or some of that before you come to us anyway. So it didn't surprise me, put it that way.
Oh, you know what?
Can you clean up your act over there so that perhaps we could come over? Do you reckon?
We're all dirty over here. We're dirty East Coasters. So, you know, we like to stick at our own. It's like our own little cesspool over here. So you stay over there nice and clean, and you can just watch it unfold.
On the way to work every morning, I hear the replay of the previous day's show from Fitzy and Whipper, right? And every second listener that they've got up has got COVID. It's how many people do you know that currently have it, BJ?
We've got quite a few at work. We've got probably about 80% of the people I know, and all their kids have got it. It's the new fake tan over on the East Coast. When the sun comes out, it just gives you protection. So we think it's a bit like, the sunscreen over there in the West. You've got to strip, stop, slap, and get it on you.
Now, what do you think? Do you think that our premiers are doing a smart move here and waiting for the numbers to go down, waiting for our third booster rates to go up before we let that beast in? Or do you? What's your opinion from afar?
Well, I think most of the people over here think, over there it's just a different world, and the premier's crazy and all those type of things. But I do get it. I do understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're allowed to go out and do what you want and eat and sleep and bloody go to the schools and all that sort of stuff. So things are opening up. Have never closed up there. So I do understand that. But I suppose it's a difficult one for people with families and friends and workers up in the north, and they can't see their families and all those things. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you're not going to please everyone, are you? I mean,
absolutely not.
If there was some middle ground between being completely locked up and the let it rip, if there was somewhere in between, I think we'd be happy.
So physically, like Euclid or something.
So you guys, you're gonna love your AFL. What happens if you get to the stage where you're not opening up and there's no West Coast Eagles and Freo? That's when it really will hit the road. Will hit the rubber.
Yeah.
Oh, mate,
there'll be changes then, of course.
I think the pandemic has clearly stated that if you're Nicole Kidman or any other AFL player, you can go anywhere you want.
Yeah, but I mean, the Perth Wildcats are currently over east, and now they were thinking they were going to be coming back on Feb 5.
I know,
and they're not. Now they're stuck indefinitely.
Well, the Perth Scorchers, as we know, are playing in the final actually Saturday, which you'll be covering through Fox Cricket there, BJ, and we hope that they perform well. But all their games has been over the East Coast this season.
Hasn't hurt.
Well, you know what? I think that's been a good thing for them. I mean, the travel has been pretty hard. Yes, I know they'd love to play in Perth in front of their home crowds, but I think the less travel, they've sort of been in Melbourne and sort of toing and froing, and I think that's been quite good. I think that's been quite relaxing for them. They've been out and about, and some of them have been obviously in the bubble as well. So I don't think that's disrupted them too much. And I think the game that's going to be on Saturday is probably going to be the final. That eliminator who goes through, they'll go straight through to the final. And I think the Sixers and the Scorchers are the best two teams in the comp anyway.
Hey, how good's Binch Marsh been in his time in the BBL? I know he hasn't played as many games, but from a viewing sense, it's been amazing.
Oh, mate, yeah, no doubt. I mean, he will, this game suits him. He's been in great form with the World Cup over in the UAE. He's been one of the dominant players in that competition. He'll move into the one-day format. Look, and you know what, if it wasn't for Cam Green, he'd be pretty close to pushing into the test side, which I still think they can play two all-rounders in the test side, but he will be dominant in the one days coming up, but he'll also be dominant in these finals.
BJ, we over here are breaking records with the string of over 40-degree days at the moment. It's so sweltering hot. And I spoke to Ashton Agar the other day and asked him the question of the hottest that he's ever been while playing a game with the temperature and the conditions and stuff. Can you recall your most hottest game?
I reckon one time it was in Kuala Lumpur for the Commonwealth Games. It was about 45 degrees and about 98% humidity. We played India.
Oh, God.
And three of the Indian guys fainted on the boundary. I mean,
Not a good sign.
Well, yeah, that's what I said, because I was doing the drinks, and I went, oh, mate, if they're falling over, so we're going to be dead man walking.
Did you win?
Yeah, we won because they couldn't field a team. They got down to about 6 people because 5 of them had walked off. So that was a good win for us.
That's a great win, actually, BJ. Yes. And obviously, one of the talking points at the moment is Justin Langer and whether he should have his contract extended. The Australian coach done a particularly good job with wins.
Yeah, results are on the board.
Results are there, but it's not necessarily all about that. He's pretty keen to keep going as it stands, but there must be a bit of an undertow or around that some people aren't happy with, how he presents.
Yep. Look, I think you're right. I mean, reading between the lines, I think there's a definite, not concern, but I think he hasn't probably connected with the players, which does surprise me. Yes. But at the end of the day, I think what JL's got to do is put his hand up and go, you know what, I want to coach the job. I've won the World Cup, I've won the Ashes, we'll win this one-day series coming up against Sri Lanka, the T20 series. So I've done everything that I can possibly do. Now, I reckon he should just let the cards fall where they fall and say, look, I want the job, but if they don't want me and they don't want success, then I'm happy to go. And let the public do the fighting for him. I don't think he needs to go into, Cricket Australia cap in hand. I think he's got to get on the front foot and say, well, mate, I've done the right thing. I've changed the culture. I've made the team win. What more do you want from me? That's my job as a coach. So I think he's got to get on the front foot that way. But if they decide to go the other way, then you go, you know what, you go out gracefully and say, well, mate, I've done my job and that's what you wanted me to do. I'll get another coaching gig somewhere else. But if you don't want success and you don't want the team performing well, then, hey, mate, that's not me then.
Jeez, it would hurt to see him coaching England or something, wouldn't it? Or that it's
but I think he would love that. I mean,
I know, but it would hurt the rest of us.
Yeah. Well, he can stick it to them. That's what he's going to do. So I think that could possibly happen. But I don't want to go. I don't want to see him going cap in hand to the players, saying, "Oh, well, okay, I'll do this."
Yeah, begging for his job.
That's exactly what he's meant to do.
Yeah, well, we're JL country over here, so he can do no wrong with us.
Yeah, that's right.
Speaks to us nicely, so we're okay.
Yeah, that's right. BJ, we look forward to seeing all the action on Fox Cricket and seeing our Scorchers get the victory on Saturday and many more games to come. Thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Stay safe, guys. I'll see you in 5 years.
See you later. That's right.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Lab reports, blood tests. Somebody blew out a fuse in the lab. You're a laboratory experiment.
I need my lab assistance, please.
These guys consider themselves to be pretty good detectives. You can be a detective too. Just check out Scitech's Top Secret Licensed to Spy exhibition on now at Scitech City West.
And it all comes down to this, the grand final of Lab Assistants.
That's right. If hearing it isn't enough for you and you want to see it, Nathan, Nat and Shaun on Instagram, we're going to be doing a live story and it's happening right now.
There's $5,000 from Scitech up for grabs for the winning team.
I know, righto. Well, let's go over to Joe and Michelle straight away. Joe and Michelle, you made your way through to the final. Congratulations, first of all. We'll start with you, Joe. How are you feeling? You're feeling confident?
I'd be lying if I said yes.
That's the spirit.
She just recently asked us to swap partners.
That's not very nice,
That was nothing
Michelle.
to do with this
We
conversation.
actually want both of them on our team.
Now, we haven't asked this question. If you were to win this $5,000, how are we dividing it?
And that question hasn't come up. No, we actually didn't even think that far, to be quite fair.
What would you think? What were you thinking?
Because, Joe, you won your way through.
You don't have to divide it.
No.
You could have it all.
Yeah. I don't. You're obviously not here, but the listeners. But if you actually knew who we were up against, we don't actually need to think ahead.
Well, the people that you're up against are none other than Jason and Gareth.
Hi, Jace.
Hey, how you going?
Jace. Gareth answered one question last round. Uranus was the answer.
Well, that's why you got a team. You need somebody to pull you through.
And it was a one.
Because you won by
Uranus.
one. Yes, that's right.
And it was by one. So we had a discussion about whether any of the winnings are going to be shared or not. Jason, it is completely up to you. You know that Gareth is just your arm candy today.
We've got a gentleman's agreement. We discussed it yesterday.
And what do we?
I can't tell you.
Gareth, do you want to tell us?
For the amount of time I'm putting into this, it's a good return.
Okay. All right, I understand. Now, of course, you are playing for people at home. Joe and Michelle are playing for Rob from Armidale.
Yes.
And Jason and Gareth are playing for Rachel from Karratha. And so if their team wins, $2,000 for doing nothing.
For doing nothing. All right.
All right, the girls are going to go first, guys. Try to put the score on the board.
Joe and Michelle. So as we know, there's going to be 60 seconds put on the clock, and you guys have to answer as many questions as you can correctly. Before then, you can ask each other if you think you're right.
you can confer.
But if you don't think you got a chance, you can pass and try and get on to the next one.
Our quiz master is Shani, the science guru here at Scitech. There's lots of science gurus, I believe, but Shani's the best one. She told me to say that. All right.
Definitely didn't.
This is the grand final. Joe and Michelle, your 60 seconds starts now.
Which gas is used to fill balloons to make them rise?
Helium.
Correct. What does an ornithologist study?
Birds.
Correct. Starting with I, what type of camera is used to measure the heat of an object?
Pass.
Infrared. What do capillaries carry around your body?
Red blood cells.
Correct.
Yeah, I think we'll pay that.
What is the name of the American space organization that runs the government space program?
NASA.
Correct. How many queen bees are there in a beehive?
Correct.
Nimbus, cumulus, and stratus are types. Correct. Which chromosome is only found in male humans' DNA?
Y.
Correct. How many million years ago did an asteroid hit the Earth that caused the dinosaurs' extinction?
5.
Incorrect. 66. Dairy products typically come from which type of animal?
Cow.
Correct. What does CD stand for?
CD.
Pass.
Compact disc.
And
What?
time's up.
What do we got?
Wow, that's
I've got 8.
That is 8. That is
Solid
8.
score.
That is fantastic. Congratulations, Joe and Michelle.
Jason is
And
sweating.
Rob from Armidale, who's just hanging on to their shirt tails. All right. Jason and Gareth.
They are representing Rachel from Karratha at home, hoping to score $2,000, but there is $5,000 up for grabs right now.
Jason and Gareth, your time starts now.
What type of technology orbits the Earth and can be used to eavesdrop?
Satellite.
Correct. Which element is represented by Li on the periodic
Lithium.
table? Correct. Electric power is measured in what units?
Volt.
Correct. What organ is protected by your skull?
The brain.
Correct. What do you call someone who studies the weather?
Meteorologist.
Correct. Which planet is the largest in the solar system?
Jupiter.
Correct. What part of the body does plantar fasciitis affect?
The foot.
Correct. The death of every member of a species is known as?
Extinction.
Correct. Which scientist is known for the theory of relativity?
Albert Einstein.
Correct. What is another name for maize?
Corn or wheat.
Correct. Where in the body would you find the jugular veins?
In the neck.
Correct. What do snakes use to smell?
The tongue.
Correct. Which metal is extracted by the Mond process?
Gold.
Incorrect. Nickel. On what part of your body would you find the pinna?
In your ear.
Correct.
They nailed it. They got 13.
13.
Brought it home like a machine. $5,000 from Scitech.
Jason and Gareth!
And let's not
It's on.
forget Rachel from Karratha. Rachel, hello.
Oh my God, well done, boys.
You won $2,000 for doing absolutely nothing.
Oh, that is the best day's work ever.
I know!
Rachel, congratulations.
God, you did just as much as Gareth did.
Of course, Jason and Gareth.
But she's getting more.
Well done, Rachel. You have a great day in Karratha, all right, honey?
Thank you, will do.
No
All
worries.
right.
Now back to the boys.
Yes.
Bloody good round, mate. Bloody good round.
Like a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a lever, it's a pulley, obviously.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
well
much.
played. Bought the right game for the final.
Yeah, that's
Only
right.
just scraped in over Lindsay and Ali earlier on.
Yes,
too,
that's true.
And Natalie, of course, we weren't smart enough to answer I asked the science questions this morning.
No, that's right. Thank you to Shani, our science guru from Scitech.
Everyone give it up for Shaun.
There's a lot of pressure being the
Thank you
quiz
very much.
master.
Actually, you probably don't know, but was self-correcting some of the questions as she was going because we were too dumb to write them.
The Nathan Nat and Shaun podcast.
Well, we did mention we'll talk about the tennis. We'll do that quickly, okay? So Chris O'Connell, one Australian, of course, Madison Inglis, our West Australian, who competed at the Australian Open. They both won their matches yesterday. They're little known. They're outside the top 100. But as we know from reading the paper and seeing the prize money breakdown, they're guaranteed of $221,000, guys.
Oh, I love that.
I heard Maddie Inglis interviewed and she said, now she'll be able to employ a full-time coach because that's the problem, is that the more money you make, the better coaching, better staff you've got. And so you've got a better shot at staying up there. So, this will enable her to have a coach with her all the time.
I know I don't know her personally, but I feel like I like her a lot.
Super
I think that she's really lovely.
She's the real deal, isn't she?
Yeah, real deal. And I'm really happy for her.
Nath, with this performance for both of them, they get to go and play at another Grand Slam because their rankings come down. So they should be able to get a spot at another Grand Slam, which means anytime loses $100,000, right?
Yes.
So they get a chance to get, like, if they don't get, one of the world number ones along the journey, they can be playing someone outside
a qualifier
the top 50.
or whatever.
You know what?
You're just as much chance, and then you can earn some money.
It's just an easier seat at the big table, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Then keeps you the money and gets you the resources to stay there. Amazing.
But, look, we spoke about that, but the big news this morning is very interesting. Now, I want to preface by saying Luke Shuey was, as captain of the West Coast Eagles, was on the tally just the other day. The AFL have made a mandate that by today, all players in the competition need to have at least one COVID-19 vaccination, at least one jab, okay?
Wow.
So this is Luke Shuey on the news just 2 nights ago.
It is a private issue for whoever is unvaccinated at the moment to sort through themselves. I'm confident by whenever it needs to be done, guys will have done what they need to.
Well, it's 48 hours since he made that statement. He was confident, but Jack Darling from the West Coast Eagles, their centre-half forward, their premiership player...
champion goal kicker.
...has not been vaccinated. He's chosen not to at this stage. He will be taking time away from the club. He'll be training by himself at this stage. And as the AFL rules... stand at the moment, he cannot play for the West Coast Eagles in any game, in any stadium around Australia, Nathan.
I'm going to take away from his decision, because that's not my business.
Yeah,
it's his own personal thing.
Yep.
But moving forward, if he's not wanting to be vaccinated and the mandate's in place, he loses his job?
It'll have to be depending on the wording of the contract, but... the wording of the contract, if you're unable, like any of us in any position,
to perform to your ability,
fulfill your position for whatever reason,
he's not fulfilling his responsibilities
and duties.
So I mean, and
this happens in the NBA. So Kyrie Irving's playing for the Brooklyn Nets, and he can't play in any of the home games in a lot of the states in America. Sometimes he can fly into a state that doesn't have that rule and just play, and that's one in every 10 games, so to speak.
Yeah,
it's making Patty Mills look
good. He's still getting paid a fair bit of money. I'm not sure what the deal.
Yes.
Okay, because I understand people like Jack and other sporting celebrities and other people that have got a whole pile of money to fall back on. You can make that decision because you're going to be okay. But when it comes to the people that have their industries have been mandated in just everyday life, I just wonder...
Like police officers and nurses, for example.
It's such a huge decision because you will effectively be without income.
Yes.
And probably moving forward won't be able to get a job in any other industry because so many of them are being mandated as our
we can't get into our building without a double vaccination.
Yeah, and then if you're not vaccinated in our building, how long is that going to last?
Yeah, that's right.
Can't be there. Like, what's the future of your employment? It's just it blows me away, and I don't want to get into anyone's reasons for or against, but to have such a strong principle against a vaccination that could leave you without a livelihood.
This is the Willie Pike thing too, isn't it?
Such a huge decision to make for people in everyday life, not your Willie Pikes who's got a whole pile of money, but
but these people, they still have mortgages and everything.
I get
that. So they have ongoing costs. And, Jack Darling's got 2 little kids. He's got a family to support.
I get that.
And you just go,
it's a huge call.
But you've got a bit of cushion, a little bit of leeway when you've got a bit more coin.
Well, you
can get rid of some of your assets, you know what I mean?
At this point in time, he's got more leeway than most police officers. Nurses who have decided not to take up their thing.
My thing is about just people in everyday life. It's just a huge decision, and I just and that's the thing that puzzles me personally about people that make that decision because of their beliefs or their stance. I get worried. I think well, are you going to be okay? How are you? And it may be unfair that you've been mandated out of your career and stuff like that to you, but It's a big
believe in
decision.
something, you think you need to stand by and make a statement.
I know.
Then that's
But at what sacrifice? Like, it's extraordinary. Like, if it's going to impoverish you, is it worth that?
Yeah,
If it means that you have to uproot your family and move somewhere else so that you can work, I don't know, in a field that you're not working in at the moment, and is it worth that? Like, where do you draw the line? I don't know the answer to it.
Well,
I'm asking the question.
first of all, it's a big blow for the West Coast Eagles of him not playing this season, if that's going to continue.
Because they will have built their strategy and their
structures. He's a 200-game player. He's a very good player. Like, he's a jet, let's be honest. And getting back to... what we were previously talking about, it is such a big decision for people to stand by their decisions and see them through. I think a lot of people, and I have heard this out there, and I'm not speaking for everyone, but a lot of people are thinking, this will last for a period of time.
That's
and then we'll
right.
Get back and vaccination won't be a thing.
Yeah.
Mark McGowan keeps saying the opposite.
If last night taught us anything, it's that we do not know where the finish line is.
I mean, like, as you know, this morning from us being at Scitech, we are scientists, and we've actually...
Well, you're wearing a lab coat.
We've actually finished and just got our Novavax pass. That Nova 937.
We've worked really hard on that.
Have put together. We've been like...
You're welcome.
Like, that's why we were so tired at the end of last year, because you didn't realise, like, we were doing the show and then afterwards hitting the lab.
Yeah.
So...
Great branding.
And that they think that a lot of people were hanging out for Novavax
Of
because
course they
it's
are.
got a different protein backup and
Yes,
stuff.
its mechanism is different,
Yeah, so firstly, no worries.
Thanks to the team.
You're welcome.
No worries, but let's just see what that does and if that can get some more people over the line and perhaps soften their views on this whole situation.
Maybe
but it's a confusing time, and it sort of makes me think, God, I feel so lucky sometimes that I don't have any really strong
principles. Yeah. I mean, it works in your favour.
I stand for nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah. And Nathan often says, jab me.
Yeah. Opinion can be bought. I mean, like, really, just be fluid, everyone.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au.